the news hour on AIT. We told you earlier that the Binance cryptocurrency saga will be back in the news this week as the deadline given by Nigeria's House of Representatives to the company's CEO, Richard Teng, to appear before it lapses on Monday. This follows a chain of events last week, including news of the company's alleged involvement in money laundering and terror financing. Well, joining us to provide some more perspectives on this developing issue, I'm joined by Chima Achu. Chima Achu is the COO of Dominion Blockchain Solutions. Chima, many thanks for coming on the News Hour.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now for some of us who are not fully clear of what is playing out, just give us an idea of how serious this is.
Yes, it's a serious issue because the aspect of arresting Binance executives who visited the country for a separate business or transaction, to me, is a justable way of trying to resolve the forest crisis we are having as a country. Because Binance is not really our problem. At some point, we have blamed it on Aboki FX, an online platform that updates rates, daily rates of currencies. You know, so the way and manner we are going about it is sending a wrong signal to the international community, and especially foreign direct investors will be chasing around. And we should also be very mindful of the fact that for us as a country, all the indices that makes up a good economy is not really in our favor at a time like this. So the clampdown on Binance executives at a time like this is something I really see as not really a right step by the security agencies in addressing the forest crisis we're having as a country.
Okay, Chima, you've actually told us now that government have not really handled it the best way. What are the solutions? How better should the government handle it?
Yes, there should be a macroeconomic approach to solving the challenge because the problem is not, we shouldn't be looking outside for our issues. It's very simple macroeconomics approach in solving the challenges we are having. We have to address the issue of manufacturing as a country, because it's only when you manufacture and you are not dependent on imported goods that you change dollars to exchange with those goods. That is when you can begin to, the pressure on your currency will be mitigated to a reasonable extent. So I strongly believe that if we can improve manufacturing as a country, diversify the economy, and also, before you float any currency, you need to understand the strength of your economy. You know, you have to understand how strong your economy is to do that. Yes, it will be subjected to the forces of demand and supply, as the case necessitates. But at the same time, as it is right now, we are still import-dependent nation. And on that basis, for you to float your currency, of course, there are so much pressure. We have pressure from those that goes on medical tourism, from those schooling abroad. Of course, if you create the right environment, the right atmosphere, there won't be need for people to go for medical tourism abroad, on one part. On another part, those that goes to school abroad as well, if you have good institutions, both especially public institutions, state and federal universities, that are well equipped, people won't think of leaving Nigeria to go and study abroad. So the pressure we are having at the moment is self-inflicted. I think the CBN, SEC, and other regulatory agencies should look at a more responsible way. Going to arrest BDC operators in Ibadan and Abuja is not the right approach. These are legitimate business people whose job is simply to trade currencies, and their businesses are allowed by the law. So chasing them around is not also the right approach. So we need to be very careful the kind of wrong signals we are sending to international community, to the business environment. We shouldn't also be unmindful of the fact that there is pressure in terms of the ease of doing business in Nigeria. Adding that to the challenge we have now, the forest crisis we have as a country, we should look for macroeconomic approach to solving it. Using this Gestapo way of trying to hound people and try to name or shame a company or an individual is definitely not the right approach.
Okay, back to Binance. I mean, a number of scenarios are likely to play out. Richard Teng could decide not to show up, for which the House has promised that there are going to be very serious sanctions if he doesn't. But then what happens if he does show up?
Please, can you come again? I didn't get that question.
Yes, a number of scenarios are likely to play out. I mean, we're going back to the Binance issue now. Its CEO, Richard Teng, may decide not to show up tomorrow, for which the House has promised big trouble for Binance if it doesn't. And then again, he may show up. And what's likely to happen if he does or doesn't show up? Oh, well, it appears...
Hello? Can you hear me?
It
yes,
appears,
we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, go ahead. Oh, well, it appears we're having difficulty, continuing this discussion with Chima Achu. Fortunately, he has said a number of things which have made some meaning to the issue on hand. Chima Achu is the COO